Chapter 5 of Unit 4, and that's going over a credit card statement. And that's kind of what we're looking at right here is a statement. You'll notice that it has a billing date of January 23rd, a payment due date. So it was billed on the 23rd. It gives them about 10 days to pay it. It lists individually all of the debits and credits. And debits are going to be charges, whereas credits are going to be payments. Now I want you to notice here that the payment actually has a negative sign with it. Now when you think of a credit, you normally think of yourself adding it, which would be a plus sign. But you've got to remember that this is kind of the opposite world. It's something we owe, so when I make a payment, I need to subtract from what I owe. In the summary, it gives a previous balance, it gives a payment, so it shows here that they did not pay the credit card off in full, so they will incur finance charges. They made new purchases. It does look like they paid it on time. There's no late charge. And then we have our finance charge, which we'll go over how that was calculated. And then a new balance. It lists the minimum payment. Notice we have the APR here, and if I divide that by 12, it gives me my monthly periodic rate. It lists the days in the cycle, and it tells me what my average daily balance is. Also here it has the total credit line. This is how much this particular credit card has said these people can charge and borrow from them. And right now their total available credit is $76.36.52, which is going to be your total credit line minus your new balance. So let's go ahead and go through the first example. And it says here that this is a summary of Jane Sharp's credit card statement. Explain how the new purchase amount was determined and explain how the new balance was determined. Well, the new purchases amount, if we go back here and we list it, if we were to add all of these values together here, that's how we got the new purchases. But as far as how to get the new account balance, it's a little bit more involved. What you're going to do is you're going to take your previous balance, and I'm going to kind of use just mathematical forms up here rather than rewriting it because the typing here on here looks much better than my writing. You're going to take the previous balance. You're going to subtract any payments or credits. You're going to add new purchases. You're going to add any late charge if there is any, and add any finance charge, and it's going to equal your new balance. So in this case, we have $150.50 minus the 75 plus the 284.45 plus the 353 equals the 363.48. Now you might ask how the finance charge was found, and remember it's taking the average daily balance and multiplying it by your monthly periodic rate. So if you take the 235.10 and put it into your calculator and multiply that by 0.015, which is the monthly periodic rate, that's how you get the finance charge. All right, please press pause. Go ahead and try and write a formula here, remembering that you're going to use the letters and the numbers that are involved here, and see if you can come up with a formula. Press pause, come back to me when you're ready. Okay, let's see how we did. And I'm going to go ahead and write it in these open boxes. So a formula, it looks like we're looking at taking the balance in A2, because notice here it would be in A2. We're going to subtract B2. We're going to add C2. We're going to add D2, add E2, and that equals F2. And there is my formula. right, example 2, it says Pasquale has a credit line of $15,000 on his credit card. His summary looks as follows. How much is available on his credit card? Or how much does he have available to purchase? So the balance was $45.98.12. So if we subtract that, we end up with just the $598.12. Then we're going to add the $1,368.55, and oops, looks like they paid it late. And then there was a finance charge attached to it as well. So when I multiply, when I add and subtract all of that together, I end up with a total owed of $1992.45. Now that gives me what Pasquale owes the credit card company. It does not tell me, however, what his available credit is. His available credit is how much he has left to purchase. So if he has a credit limit of, it says $15,000, right now he's used $1,992.45 of that, then his available credit is going to be the difference, which is the $13,007.55. And that is his available credit. Please press pause. Go ahead and solve this. When you're ready, come back. All right, it says Rhonda had a previous balance of $567.91 and made an on-time credit card payment of $567.91. So hopefully you can see that basically she had a balance, she paid the balance off. So now the balance on the account is 0. She has a credit line of X dollars. So this is how much the credit card company has given her to use. And she's now made new purchases of Y. So if I subtract that out, it's going to give me the total available credit, which is simply total available minus the purchases gives me the new available credit. All right, for example 3, it says examining the summary of her credit card, she's checked all the entries in her bill and she agrees with everything except for the final balance. So she took the $17.48 and she subtracted 100. And let's go ahead and actually follow through with it on the calculator, and let's see if we come to the same conclusion that Myrna did. So she had a balance of $17.48. She made a payment of $100. She made purchases of $800. She had a $9.15, actually, sorry about that. So we had $17.48 minus the $100 payment, plus the $800 in new purchases, plus the $9.15 in late charge, plus the $19. And you'll notice that they came up with, she came up with $24.76.15. But the balance here on the statement says $25.76. So it looks like we're $100 off. And what it's saying is they believe that she owes $100 more than she does. So looking at this, it's kind of an easy fix. What happened, or what it looks like happened, is that the payment, although it's listed, was not credited to her account. So in that case, she'll need to call and have that corrected. So let's see how you can do with your problem-solving skills to find out what is wrong with this statement. Go ahead and take a moment, and when you're ready, come back. All right, so if we take the previous balance, we've got $850, and again, let's go ahead and use the calculator. We've got an $850, let's see if I can move it over here. $850 was the previous balance. And she made a $560 payment. She charged $300 more. She had a late fee of $3 and a finance charge of $4.78. So she believes that her balance should show $597.78. So let's see if we can figure out some things that went wrong here. The first thing to look at is, let's look at that late charge. And the reason I'm looking at that late charge is if I subtract out that late charge, now I'm looking at $594.78. Now I'm just kind of troubleshooting here and I'm trying to see anything that makes sense. So they say the balance is $504.78. I say $594.78, which is a difference of $90. And what that's going to get us in is kind of the rule of nines here. Whenever you see an error and it is divisible by 9, so in this case 90 is divisible by 9 and I get 10. What a lot of times happens is some sort of transposition happens. Now what is a transposition? It means that if something was 650 and you wrote it as 560, then you transposed it. So if we take this payment here, and if it was accidentally made for 650 instead of 560, and then we'll go ahead and take that late charge out, let's see if we end up with the 504.78. So we're looking at 850 minus, we're going to put in the error amount, which is 650, plus the new purchases. We're going to leave that late charge alone because we determined that that might be one of the errors as well. And look at that, we've got 504.78. So it looks like in this case there were actually 2 errors. We had to do a little bit of studying to find out where those errors were. So great job. We've got one more to go in this lesson and then we'll be finished with Unit 4.